On a Tuesday night here. But tonight we're going to be talking about capos. I try and do this once a year. We call it Capo Madness. Just everything to do with capos, one of the most important tools a guitar player has. And I thought it would be great if we just focused on that for a little bit. So in order to do that, let me get off of this guitar and I will get to this other one, which I probably should have tuned before we got started, but I think we're pretty close. That's close enough. Something like that. And it wouldn't be a trip about capos without talking about the most popular, most well-known capoed song on the planet. So if you know it, you can feel free to sing along. Here we go. There you go, a little Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles to get us started off on our capo night there. Everybody knows that song. It's kind of the typical one you play with a capo. That, for all of you guitar players out there, is capoed at the 7th fret, and I play it basically in D. And so it's just kind of a D, G, and an A, and then for 1 second it goes to an E7. G with an F sharp, E minor, D with an F sharp, G, and then the end is F, C, I think to a G, and then back to a D. Cool. Anyway, great little tune. I'll try and write it out. Actually, we've got our fingerstyle conference coming up, and I thought maybe I'd write it out for that. All right. If you can, when you're trying to ask a question, type it in all caps. That helps our producers know which questions to pick. So there you go. All right, so let's talk about capos. So many things to talk about with capos. Well, first of all, what's the deal? What is a capo? Well, here it is. I mean, I've got several different kinds of them here, but this is the most standard one. I'll try and hold it steady here where you can see it. It's basically a spring and a clamp, okay? And then you put it on your guitar, and it allows you to play open type chords without being in the open position. One of the great things about guitar is that you get all these wonderful open strings ringing on all kinds of... I play something in the open position. I have all these open strings ringing, and it sounds fantastic. Well, what does a capo do? But if I'm in a key that does not have open strings, it doesn't sound as good. And what a capo allows me to do is to use those open strings, those ringing strings, even on keys that are not as guitar friendly. So that brings us to what are guitar friendly keys. The typical keys that guitar sounds great in are the key of C, G, D, A, and E. I was just looking around for my tuner here real quick. Caged keys, if you want to think of it, an easy way to do that is to spell the word caged, C-A-G-E-D, and those are the keys that are generally work out a little bit easier on guitar because they just use a lot of open strings. So what a capo allows you to do, it's kind of warm and muggy in here, which is a prime way for getting out of tune. We've been having a lot of rain here in Nashville the last couple of days, so everything is kind of hot and muggy. All right, I think that's a little bit closer. There you go. All right. Here's the different types of capos. You basically have this clamp style of capo. Okay, this is a kind of a Kaiser capo right here, and it's a typical clamp. It's got a real strong spring right here, and I put that on my guitar, and it will allow me to use open strings on non-guitar friendly keys. So I couldn't get all of these cool sounds without a capo. I mean, I'm playing in what, F there? So if I had to do that without it, it would be, it just doesn't work as well as when you have a capo. When I grew up playing jazz, I used to think, gosh, capos, you're cheating, you know. I'm a jazz player, I don't need capo, I can play in any key. Well, in jazz, you typically do, and you don't use really the open strings of the guitar, but if you're playing country, or if you're playing bluegrass, or you're playing just pop-sounding stuff, you're going to need a lot of the open string sounds, and a lot of times you're going to be in a non-guitar friendly key. So what do? That's where you start using a capo. So you have the clamp type. I got various types here. Another clamp type. One of the questions there was, are there different sizes and different ones? You know, is there different ones for acoustic and electric? Basically, it doesn't have to do with acoustic or electric. It has to do with the neck width of the guitar. Like this is a wider necked guitar. This is actually meant for classical. You can see that maybe we can get a shot. Sorry, I'm going to make you guys work tonight with the shots. I'll try and keep them steady. This one is longer. This one is about a 2-inch neck, and this is for about 1 1/4 inch neck. So you can see how this one is just a tad longer than this one. So it doesn't really have to do with acoustic or electric. It has to do with the size of your neck. So a mandolin capo would be even smaller. Okay. There's another type of capo that's kind of a pressure tension type of capo. Just keep coming there, David. That's this type. This is a G7th, put out by a company, G7th, and this is more of a pressure-sensitive tension type that works on actually kind of a mini ratchet system. So here is what you release the ratchet by, and so this applies equal pressure on there, and it doesn't use as much pressure as these more inexpensive spring-type capos. So that's just some different types. Now you get ones that have different notches in them that'll only cover a couple of strings, things like that. There's some specialty capos, but that's basically the two different flavors of capos. You have the spring type. These are generally these will work well, but they apply a lot of pressure on your instrument. If you find yourself going out of tune, which I have a tendency to do on when using capos, when I'm in the studio, I'll use one of these. It takes a little bit longer to get one of these off and on, but it applies the pressure a little bit more evenly, and it's not quite as much pressure. Sometimes these will bend your strings out of tune just because there's so much pressure coming down. So where should you put your capo? David, maybe you can catch me here. All right, so if I'm going to put a capo, let's say here on my 5th fret, what should I do? Well, I don't want to put it angled like that. That's bad, okay? Because you have to think, what is it doing? It's just holding the strings down right behind the fret. So where it needs to be is just straight up and down right behind the fret. So sometimes it's hard to see. Right, there you go. I got it pretty straight there. And put with just enough pressure to create a good amount of pressure. If it's not enough pressure, the string will buzz. But This is good and clear. Now, you have to be careful, though. I don't want to put it sideways, okay, because that's going to get the strings unevenly. I don't want to tug at it, because that's going to get the strings out of tune. So I want it to go just straight on with just enough pressure. See, like if I don't have enough pressure on it, that's pretty weak there. You see what it's doing? If I don't have enough pressure on it, it gets this kind of muffled, buzzy sound. But once I put enough pressure on it, okay? And so that's how you work them. All right. So we've talked about the different types. We've talked about where to put it. Now, let's talk about why we use them. We use them to get songs that are not in guitar-friendly keys to guitar-friendly keys. So now is where I want you to whip out the little chart that I gave you. And the first page of that, it's a little chart like this, Capo chart. Where do I put my capo? Go ahead and get this, David, because I'm going to talk about this for a second. Here's the deal. I play guitar for a living, and I do a lot of stuff in the studio with capos. Because you're going to be playing a song. Here's exactly what happens. They write the song in, let's say, C or D. Let's say they write it in D. You get in there, the singer sounds, it's a little low. Let's raise it up. So let's raise it up to F. Okay, so good. I raise it up to F. I now use my handy-dandy capo to raise it up. And then I need to do another track with it, but they want a different kind of guitar track, so I have to transpose it yet again to another alternate key. So now, me as the guitar player, I've got 3 keys going on in my head, and that's why number charts they use a lot in Nashville, because it's just helpful when you're jumping between different keys. So let me show you how this works. I just went through, we've talked about capo math and counting frets and all that sort of stuff, which is all true, and that's exactly right. But you know, in the heat of battle, there's really only certain variations of capoing that I do, okay, in a professional situation. So I just wrote them down, okay? So here's the gig. If your song that you're trying to get to, you have to know what key you want to play in, a guitar-friendly key, and you have to know what key do you want it to sound in. Well, if I want it to sound in the key of A flat, I got 3 choices, okay? If I do it here on this first row, it says this is the natural chords. This is the natural option. That's the one that's going to sound closest to, you know, the end of the guitar, closest to a natural sound on the guitar. So if I'm playing an A flat, then I want to put my capo at the first fret and play in G. So, put my capo at the first fret, and I'm going to play in G. So I'm thinking in G, I'm playing in G, but it's sounding in A flat, okay? That's option number 1. That's the most natural sounding one. It's the one closest to the end of the neck. My option to get it into a guitar-friendly key, in this case, G is the closest guitar-friendly key. And we just did it there. Well, Steve, why didn't you put it in A? Well, here's why I didn't put it in A. Well, A is actually above A flat. So I need the closest guitar-friendly key that's below where I want it to sound. So if I wanted it to sound in A, wow. Or if I wanted to play in A and have it sound in A flat, then I've got to do, you know, this way up here, and it's lousy. So that's why. That's why we don't do that. It's always the closest guitar-friendly key below the key that you want it to sound in. So, but that's a lot of math, so I just wrote it out, okay? So the most natural option is this first one. I put my capo at the first fret and play in G. Now, I have also down here, an alternate option. An alternate option. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, sometimes I want to, let's say there's 2 guitar players, or I want to play 2 different guitar parts. I don't want to play the same thing both times. Or if there's 2 acoustic players, I don't want to be playing in the same range as he's playing. I want to play something different. So that way he's got his space, I've got my space. So we'll do, in the studio, these alternate things. So another alternate option to play in the key of A flat would be to put my capo at the 4th fret and play in E. Okay? So if I put my capo at the 4th fret and now play in E, now I've got all of my E, great sounding E chords, but they're sounding in the key of A flat, but it's different sounding than here. Don't believe me? Let's just do a little test. 1, 2, 3, let me get some stuff ready, go, and... So that's the first guitar player's part. Well, if I want to play along with him, I don't want to play exactly what he's playing. I want to play something different. So I'm going to put it up here at the 4th fret, and I'm going to play along now in E. So it's a little bit different chord shapes than what he's using, but it's still close enough to work. Now, I'm going to keep that going. If I wanted to have a third option, a high option is what I have it written up on the thing. To have a high option so that it sounds real high-pitched, I'm going to put my capo on the 6th fret, and I'm going to play in D. So I give you 3 different options. The most natural sounding one, I give an alternate, and then I give you a high option. Okay, so let me do the high option. I'm going to put my capo on the 6th fret, and I'm going to play in D. And you're going to hear that that's going to sound different. Let me turn this up. So I've got all these beautiful parts happening, and I've got my 3 different options here for the key of A flat. Okay, let's do another one. I don't want to put it A. You'll notice on the key of A, well, that's an open key. It's an open sounding key, so I don't really need to do anything for the natural sound, just leave it right there. But if I wanted an alternate sound, I could put my capo at the 2nd fret and play in G, or if I wanted a high option, I could put my capo at the 7th and play in D. So let me play something in A. Let's see. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's open. But if I wanted to do another, hey Steve, can you lay down a second acoustic guitar part in the studio? Yep, sure can. So I'm going to put my capo up here at the, what did I say, 7th fret, and I'm going to play in the key of D. So I've got 2 different guitar parts. We're completely out of each other's space, and nothing's going to clash because I'm in 2 ranges of the guitar. One of some of the great things that you can do with capos. All right? And that's how this first chart works, okay? Now, if you're playing with, like the most recent series I put out was the Money Chords series. We put that out a couple of weeks ago, to where you're not just playing simple chords, you're playing a little bit more complex, a little bit richer sounding chords. All of these capo things really start to pay off then. Because if I'm in the studio and the singer says, I want to do this song, but it's in the key of E flat. Okay, well, that's terrible, terrible key on guitar. Okay? But I'm not intimidated because I've got the handy dandy chart. So let's say she wants to play an E flat. I'm going to play... I'll do the first capo one. So I'll do the first capo and I'm going to play an E. So without the capo, I would be forced to do this sort of stuff. They wouldn't call me back for that. But I get in there, oh, you need to do it in E flat, no problem at all. Great. Now it sounds like a guitar, okay? Because I'm using the capo. Okay, we've got a couple of questions that you've gotten to. Lee Candiotti is saying, have you tried the Elliott capos? I've heard good things about those. Now, you're mentioning, look, some of you guys are talking about bluegrass players. I wish I played more bluegrass. I don't do a whole lot of bluegrass. They use a lot of the shub capos, as Pat is pointing out. They do, and shubs are great. Shubs are great, and they kind of have been associated with bluegrass players. So most, in fact, almost entirely bluegrass players are going to play in guitar-friendly keys. I defy you to find me a bluegrass song that's in E flat. You're just not going to find it. But sometimes the singers or whatever, you're going to need to change it around, and so they're going to put it in a guitar-friendly key. And a lot of times they use shubs, so those are great capos. The Elliott capos, Lee, I'm not familiar with, but I will look them up. Robert Opelek is saying, do the same capos work for nylon string guitars? The short answer is, well, no, because a nylon string guitar has a wider neck. Now, it's the same process. It's just if I put a shorter capo on a wide-necked, it's just not going to cover the whole thing. It's going to get to about right here, and so it's not going to work as well. So they do have ones, like this one is a nylon string, for nylon string guitars. It's just about 1/4 of an inch longer. Mike H. is saying, when the sheet music is in one key and the singer wants to sing in a different key, can I use a capo? And how do I do it? Hey, welcome to my world. This is exactly what I do all the time. I just got booked for a studio session here in a week or two, and I guarantee you this is exactly what we're going to be doing. The singer's going to be singing in one key, and I got to use a capo to try and make something magical happen for an intro, okay? So here's how that works. Flip over to the second page of the old chart here. And this gets to the second problem with capos. This is called transposing a song, okay? All right, so here's the deal. When the sheet music is in one key, Mike asks, and the singer wants to sing it in a different key, can I use a capo? How to do it? Well, let's first cover the first problem. When the sheet music is in one key, I want to get it to a guitar-friendly key. Okay, that's my first goal. I want to get it to a guitar-friendly key. So we're not worried about the singer going up just yet. I just want to get this song that's in an ugly key into a guitar-friendly key. Okay? So how do I do that? Well, I got to transpose. Well, Steve, I don't have to learn all that. Well, that's why I wrote it out. So if I'm in the key of, let's say the song is in the key of B flat, okay, there are certain chords that are the most common in the key of B flat. The 1 chord, you can see the little Roman numerals at the top of the column there, is major. The 2 chord is minor. The 3 chord is minor. 4 chord is major. 5 chord is major. 6 chord is minor. Now, there is a 7 chord, a minor 7 flat 5, that is hardly ever used outside of jazz. So I just didn't bother even putting it on there because it would just confuse things. So these are the 6 major chords, and actually, probably the 4 of those, the 1, 4, and 5, and 6 minor, are all the ones you're ever going to really play in. Okay? Occasionally might have a couple other of these, but mainly it's going to be the 1, 4, 5, and 6 minor. So let's say the song is in the key of B flat, and I'm looking at a B flat chord, but I want to change it to a guitar-friendly key. Well, what key should I change it into? Well, on the other page, it would say that you could probably put your capo at the 3rd fret and play it in the key of G. So how that works is if you see a B flat chord, and I want to put it in the key of G, I got to go all the way down to the bottom here to the key of G, and it would now be a G chord. So what I do exactly in the studio is I scratch out B flat over the top of that, and I put a G. Okay, and then let's say it goes to an E flat chord. So I go over here in the key of B flat, I find the E flat chord, go down here to the G line, and now I turn it into a C. Well, what if the next chord is a D 11th, or excuse me, an F 11th? Okay, well, all the 11th, the minor 7th, the 13th, the flat 5, sharp 9, that's all just clarifications on this root note. What you're interested in transposing is the root note. Okay, So if it says, oh, you want to play an F13th with a flat 5, okay? Well, here's in B flat. I go over here to F, which is the 5 chord, this next to last column. Go all the way down here to the G line, and now on that next to last column, it's a D. So now I would be a D13th flat 5. I just tag on all the other clarifications from one side to the other. A quick little chart for you to figure out how to put this into a guitar-friendly key. Now, having said that, the second part of your question there, Mike, is there's the sheet music in the one key and the singer wants to sing in a different key, well, then you're back to the first page where you find what key it's supposed to sound in, and then you put it in the closest guitar-friendly key that's beneath it. So, I know that sounds confusing. That's why I wrote a chart out for it. It sounds like there's a gazillion different possibilities. There's really only 3 for each key, and there's only 12 keys, so I just wrote it all out. Okay. All right, one more question. And Lee, you're getting me with all these capos. Have I tried the Page capos? I have not tried the Page capos. Elliott capos are handmade to order, very expensive, about $120 each. These little, let's talk about price for a second. These little Kaiser capos, everybody likes them because they're cheap. Okay, you can pick these up, I don't know, 10, 15, 18 bucks. Okay, and they work most of the time. They'll be fine. Okay, they'll do fine for you. You can get little different colors. You can get a purple one, a pink one, whatever you want to do. All right. If you want to go up a notch, you can get these G7 sort of pressure-sensitive tension capos. This, you're talking about the $35, $40 range for one of these. These are a little bit more specific, aren't going to bend your strings quite out of tune as much. Now, there are a whole lot more variations than that. The Shubs, they have their own price range. They're not all that expensive. Then you can get, this one's kind of, I think it was gold in a former life. Now I've used it so much it's kind of tarnished. But I've seen where it's inlay on a capo, and I've got one of them that's got my name on it, So you can get all kinds of bells and whistles on it, but basically the whole deal is it just clamps down on your guitar. So it depends on how much you want to blow on a capo. John Sikora is asking, Steve, are there chord shapes on that Transposing a Song page? There are not chord shapes, just the chord names, because all that matters is the chord name. And then you use whatever chord shapes that you know. David, I'll take that, whatever you have there. What is that? Is that we're just grabbing capos off of, okay, we're just grabbing capos off of Grunes' back wall now. This is a Thalia capo. Okay. A little bit different style of a clamp that you can use. You kind of release it right there on it. I don't think, okay, maybe I can't open it up. Some poor guy's going to buy this and wonder why it's all tore into. They're going to go, oh, I can't get it off there. Okay. Well, you basically release it with this thing. Oh, that'll do it. Ooh, that's heavy. These are heavy. Cool looking capo. It's got a cool little design on it. And then you just clamp it. Ooh, that's tough to do. That's very tough to do. How do you do that? Oh, I see. It has a thing on it. That's why. Okay. Well, my apologies to the poor folks at Thalia. There blows my Thalia endorsement right there. Anyway, they're probably fantastic. It's probably a $90 capo that I'm ruining here. It's great. All right, let's give something away now that I've ruined that capo. Let's give away a set of strings from our good friends over at Martin. So I need to pick a name. Hope. We have Hope training tonight with us on that. John is saying clamp it upside down. Okay, maybe that's what it is. I'll do that. Martin. Okay, so we're going to give away a set of Martin strings. These are Martin SB strings, great phosphor bronze ones. The winner of this one is, good, that's a good name, Sharon Tiano. Sharon, good to see you. You've just won a set of strings there, Sharon. Hey, Sharon, I'm looking forward to having your hubby, Dom, at our fall fingerstyle retreat coming up next month. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be good to see Dom, you should have come. You should come, Sharon. I got spot for one more gal at the fingerstyle retreat. So, all right. So, Sharon, send me your information, and we'll get this out to you. Send it to service@mightyoakmusic.com, and I can get this out to you. Like I said, we do have our fall fingerstyle retreat coming up. We are already having people drop off. So, if you are still interested in going, all the men's slots are still filled, but I have one slot left in the lodging room for the gals. There's still one bed left in that room. I think they can fit 3. We've got 2 gals signed up for this, so we've got actually one bed left for a gal. So if you're interested in the fall fingerstyle retreat, let me know or go order. If you're a gal, don't order if you're a guy, because I'm gonna give you your money right back because we're out of guy slots. But give me your name if you're interested. We'll put it on our waiting list, and if a guy drops out, you're in. So there you go. Robert, well, I'll get to some more questions then. Our Guitar Gathering Summer Conference next year, the gathering dates are Wednesday, June 12th through Saturday, June 15th. June 12th through the 15th next year. If you're interested, you can go to theguitargathering.com, our little store there, and go to our events, and you can reserve your spot there for 4 days of absolute guitar fun. So that's all of that. Man, you guys have so many questions here. That's great. But I want to play a little bit before we get too busy with questions. We also have our new Fretboard workout series that came out a week or 2 ago on the money chords. Wow, I'm already getting great feedback from folks that are learning these chord shapes. They're the best sounding chord shapes for guitar. I put in these, it's called the money chord series. This was a series I originally did with Gibson, and we did them in a bunch of different keys. I included them all in the Fretboard workout. So if you don't have that set of videos, go on the website, check it out. We got it for $25, less than you would pay for a 30-minute lesson, much less than you'd pay for a 30-minute lesson. You get a couple hours worth of content in the chords that I use all the time in the studio. So these great sounding chord shapes. So it's well worth it comes with a 20-plus page PDF and all kinds of stuff. If you're interested, the guys will put up the link for that. All right. Yeah, don't go way too far on those questions because I want to answer those. Okay. Okay, we're going to. This is a fantastic little instrument by Violette, the Avant, probably. Boy, I'm just butchering companies' names tonight. Sorry about that. This is put up by a wonderful company. I haven't played one of these on the show in a long time. It's tuned a fifth higher than a guitar. It's 12 strings. It's kind of a music box sort of a sound. But what it's great for is dumb guys like me who have to fake mandolin parts, and I don't want to have to fake them. So I'll play a lot of times an instrument like this, and it'll sound like a mandolin. Sounds like a mandolin, and I don't have to learn mandolin tuning. I don't have to do all that sort of stuff. I don't own a mandolin. I borrow one when I need to, and I was doing a session, gosh, about a year or 2 ago, and they needed a mandolin, and I'm not a mandolin player. Mandolin is tuned in fifths, and it's a different kind of an instrument, even though you'd think it would be real similar to guitar. It's actually not. Chord shapes are different. All kinds of things are different on it. So I borrowed a mandolin. The guy wanted a mandolin sound. And you want to know what happens in Nashville? So I downloaded a mandolin chart. And so having never played mandolin, I walked confidently into the session with my mandolin chart that I had downloaded off the internet. And I knew it was a kind of a bluegrass thing, which uses 3 chords anyway. So I learned those 3 shapes on this mandolin. Thankfully, he didn't do anything beyond that. And I just played my mandolin. Oh man, it sounds great. Sounds great. We got it really dialed in. They didn't know that I couldn't play a fourth chord if they asked me. I only knew 3 chords. But if they would have said play a solo, the whole gig would have been blown. But they didn't. So all they needed was that little color. So anyway, I'm going to noodle around on this, and we'll see if we can find something that's worth listening to. A little bit of messing around in that. Pretty sounding little guitar there. Okay, let's get back to capos, and I'll answer a couple of questions on capos real quick. Robert is saying, should I retune after applying a capo? The short answer is yes. Yes, you should tune when you put on a capo, if you have time to, and then also when you have to go away from the capo, because the capo ever so slightly is going to bend your strings, and you got to be careful. You want to make sure that you don't bend yourself out of tune for that. John is saying, is one style or make better for acoustic or vice versa for electric? Well, back to the acoustic or electric thing. You can use capos on electric. It's fully, I mean, it's legal, okay? You're not going to get in trouble for using a capo on electric. It's just not done very much. But if you want to, it's a creative, different sound. I've done it from time to time, but generally I use it a whole lot more. 9 times out of 10, it's on acoustic, okay? Lee is saying, aren't there capos that only cover 2 or 3 strings? Yes, there are partial capos that you can cover, 2 outside strings or 2 inside strings, or flip it around different ways and different things like that. Phil Kagi is a good one to do that. Our good buddy Ethan Case does that all the time when he's doing all of his tapping on his 18-string guitar. If you want to I'm hesitant to mention it now because once I mention it, you guys are all going to want to watch it, and you probably should. Just look up Phil Kagi on YouTube, Shades of Green. Phil Kagi, Shades of Green. And that's the one. He's the master. All the rest of us are just peons next to him. I'm not worthy to carry his case. He's the man. And he's going to be at our fingerstyle retreat. So we're very excited to have Phil do it with us. But yeah, Shades of Green. That's a great example of him. I think he uses 2 different capos at the same time. One of them's partial, and he's flipping them, and he's doing all kinds of techniques. It is just a workshop in what can be done on a guitar. Neil ES335 is saying, can you talk about some players like Phil Kagi that use more than one capo? Well, I just did, Neil, accidentally. Yeah, I would check out, Christy Lene uses a lot of different capos as well. Phil uses capos a lot. Just kind of start to check around these different fingerstyle guys. A lot of them use a lot of different capoing type mechanisms. How I would start, though, for just the average player is just start with that chart and try and get used to doing capo on capoing various songs and capoing up into keys that you need to. Keith is saying, am I familiar with harmonic capos? And my short answer is no, I'm not familiar with what that is exactly. I don't know whether you're talking about if that's a type of capo or whether that's a brand name. I don't really know. Okay. I wanted to give an example or two from like the money chords situation, using some of these alternate chords. Okay, so let's say I'm in a situation and the chord changes are 1, 6 minor, 4, and 5. Okay, really simple sort of a situation. Let's say I'm doing an A. Okay. Okay, not bad. Every other guitar player on the planet is going to be playing that, though. So that's nothing special. But here's what you can do to kind of separate yourself from the average sound on type of those, is you can use the money chords. Okay? Instead of the A, I'll play an A2. Instead of the F sharp minor, big, ugly bar chord on an acoustic, I would use maybe an F sharp minor 11 and have these extra strings ringing. Instead of a D, I might do a D2. Instead of an E, I might do an E2. So immediately I've gotten a richer sounding progression. okay, well, suddenly that sounds like it could be an intro for some pop song or whatever. But let's say the singer, she doesn't want to do it like that. She wants to do it in the key of, let's say, C. Ooh, tricky, tricky. She wants to do it in the key of C. Still a guitar-friendly key. So I could do... Not bad. I still could do it in that. Or if I wanted to just twist it a little bit more, I could do it maybe play my A chords, but I'm going to be in the key of C. A very rich sounding progression. So now I'm in a different sort of a sound than it would be standard C, a regular standard C shape. If I wanted to do something else with it, well, what does it say on the handy-dandy chart? I don't even have to think. What am I want to play an A. I could do 7th fret, and I could play... Oh, but I'm playing the A, but I'm sounding in C, so I want to do something in C. All right, so let's do... okay, so now I'm doing 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of C. Suddenly I've got a much richer sounding progression than where we started off, and I'm in a capoed up key. So that's why you use these. It's just an easy way to get the guitar sounding its best. You know, I just can't play an F sharp minor on guitar and it sounds very good, or a G minor sounds very good. It's just not meant for that on acoustic. But I start throwing a capo around, use my fancy chords, and next thing you know, it sounds like something you'd want to listen to. Okay, let's see. Lee is saying, how about different inversions of the same chord in different positions on the neck? Yes, exactly the same thing. So if I'm in C, I was teaching this to somebody today. So here's what he's talking about. I can play a C, which everybody else is going to be playing a C. But if I add, maybe a different inversion, what an inversion does is it just mixes up the order of the notes. Okay, particularly what's important is what's on the bottom, what the bottom note is. Okay, so in a C chord you have a C, E, and a G. Well, if I play it like this, it's a C, E, G, another C, another E. Okay, but I can also have the E on the bottom. And that gets a different twist to the sound. I can get a G on the bottom. That gets a different twist to the sound. Here's the standard C. Okay, different twists in the sounds. All I was doing inversions. Instead of the F, I went to the F with an A in the bass. Instead of a G, I went to a G with a B in the bass. And it just gives a little bit of a lift. When you put the third in the bass, it gives a little bit of a lift to the sound. When you put the fifth in the bass, it sounds very stable, but you're not home. Here's home. I put the fifth in the bass, it sounds stable, but it's not home. When I put the third in the bass, it sounds sweet and nice, almost lifting, like you want to lift the four. That's just a C, F, and a G, but I have the third in the bass, so it sounds happy, sounds lifting. happy. It's a C, F, and a G. Same chords as this. I just switched the bass notes around. That's what he's talking about for that. Akelon Remison, sorry for completely botching your name. Can we use the jazz equivalent of 1, 6, 4, 5? Is that what you're trying to say? 6, 5, 1, 6, 5? Yes, if you want to go to a jazz sort of a situation, yes, you can jazz up the chords. If I want to, it's all about adding things to the chord. The standard chord progression may be just a triad, a C, an A minor, an F, and a G. If I wanted to do money chords and go pop sounding, I add 2s, I add third in the bass, things like that. If I want to go jazz sounding, I add major 7s, major 9ths, minor 7ths, minor 9ths. I start adding ornaments on the chord. So if I wanted to go jazz, well, let's do this. If here's the regular progression, C, 6 minor, A minor, F, G. Okay? If I want to go jazz, I would do a C major 7th. Maybe an A minor 7th. Maybe F major 7th. Maybe G 13th. Maybe C major 9th. Maybe A minor 9th, F major 7th, F with G in the bass, G 13th with a flat 9, C major 9 with a G in the bass, let's see, A minor 11th, F major 13th, G 11th, G 13th with a flat 9. So just I can go jazzy. So if I want to go jazz, I start messing with the 7ths and 9ths and 13ths. If I want to go pop, I start going with 2s and 11ths and things like that. Okay? Stefan Dixon is saying, what kind of pickup is installed in the acoustics you're playing? This is a LR Baggs under saddle pickup from probably 10, 15 years ago. I think I probably had it installed. It either came with it. No, I think I must have had it installed, probably here at Gruen's. It's just an under saddle LR Baggs pickup. It's not, sometimes they have kind of the duet ones where it has a mic on the inside. This isn't that. This is just the regular under saddle one. Those mic ones are nice. This one just doesn't happen to have that. And then I'm running it through a Fishman Platinum Pro EQ right now. So that's what you're hearing. When I also run it through a little delay, it's got a little bit of delay there, and then I can also put on a little bit of reverb. Not much. If I crank it up, it sounds a lot. Okay. And you can mix the two, and then I also have my little diddle looper over here. All right, Lee is asking, is that a J45? Yes, this is a Gibson J45. All right. Wow. And that's it. We have blown another hour. But let's give some stuff away. Everyone who wins tonight gets a copy of Acoustic Guitar Magazine. And in honor of Capo night, I don't know where I got these along the way. We've got a little giveaway box back there. Maybe Kaiser gave me these along the way. It's a tie clip that's a Capo. Isn't that the cutest little thing? So Sharon, you officially won a tie clip with a Capo on it. You're not going to get it. I'm sorry. It's so tiny. So we'll send one out to everybody who wins tonight. A Capo tie clip. There you go. All right. All right. So let's give away another thing here. Let's give away some more strings here. These are some Diodario Pro Arte classical guitar strings. These are actually the strings that I use on my nylon string. Hard tension. Great. The winner of this is Maria Calfa de Paul. Maria, you have just won these. Man, you're picking great names tonight. These are all great, wonderful people, our great friends here to everything that we've done here. So, Maria, you've just won that. Send me your information. And you also have won. You've picked 3 girls tonight. Hope you didn't know that, but you picked 3 girls, and they're all going to get a Kaiser Capo tie clip. So I don't know what you could do with it. Give it to the guitar player Or you can keep it. I don't know. Maybe you could use it somehow. There you go. And the last winner is a, I don't know, I think it's a set of strings, or maybe I'll grab a mug or something, is Aussie Muso. Aussie Muso. Good to, I'm glad you won. We'll send you out a tie clip as well and other stuff. So send me your information, though, at service@mightyoakmusic.com, mailing address, things like that. We'll get it all out to you. Okay, that's enough for all of that. If you're interested in the Money Chord series, I think that's one of the strongest ones that we have done so far, with me teaching just exactly these cool kind of great sounding chords on guitar, which everybody asks me about. This is the stuff that I'm using in the studio all the time, is these sorts of voicings. So check it out, and we've got that open as well. If you're interested in coming to the fingerstyle retreat, man, send me an email. And if we have another one or two drop off, currently there is no one on the mail drop off waiting list. So if anybody drops, I'm going to have an opening. So, and there is we have room for one gal in the lodging room for the ladies. So there you go. It's all kinds of fun. If we can help you out with anything, put your questions up on guitargathering.com. We've got our community site there. It's all free. Just get on there. You can ask questions. I'm on there most days answering questions. There's a chat going all the time over there. People are always in there asking questions and doing things in the chat. You can watch videos of the live lessons that we do, all kinds of things. Also, if you're ever in Nashville, like we have some of our wonderful learners are here with us tonight. If you are coming through Nashville for business or fun, let me know, and we can get together, and I'll give you the tour of Grunes. You're welcome to catch a live lesson anytime. Just shoot me an email at service@mightyoakmusic, and we will make it happen. I've got some other part of our guitar family that is coming from overseas that I'm going to meet tomorrow. So it's fun. I love it. We're going to go out to lunch with Greg. I probably should ask him about that. I hadn't even asked him about that. But you'd be amazed at how little it takes for me and Greg to go out to eat. So there you go. All right. We are done. I should probably play something out. What can I play? Let me do something on electric. I'm tired of playing acoustic. Now you guys got me thinking jazz stuff. Let me just noodle around. I'll see if I can play something jazzy. Let me get a thicker pick, because that generally works a little bit better for jazz stuff. Let me warm up my tones. I roll off my tone knob a little bit. I'll play Misty for my dad. He always loves this when I play this. There you go. Good night, everyone. We will see you in, not next week, but the week after that. See you guys. Keep up the good work on your practicing.